Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, guys. The idea here in this session is explain how to works Google Logs. Okay. Uh, our idea is we have logs to check if, for example, a flow of campaign is running well. For example, say the API calls that we receive. For example, when we are doing a bar request in Elasticsearch, when we have a segment, for example, and for example we have a timeout or any other situations, the idea is we try to save the logs, okay, because the logs give us, okay, an idea, okay, that explain how pass, okay, or what pass, okay, in the platform, okay? If we have an error, if we have a very hard query, if the process is okay, okay? This is the idea of the logs, okay? And we try, okay, we try in the code, because when we run a method or we run a process, okay, we can save, okay, the logs, for example, with a message, okay, that this message explain the moment, okay, of the process, and we try save all these messages in the logs, okay. First, we have Google Cloud to save all the logs, okay. We are saving all the logs from now to 30 days ago, okay? And if we have a log, for example, from, I don't know, from January, we don't have this log because we save only 30 days ago, okay? Because it's a lot of information and it's very expensive, save a lot of logs, okay? The idea is, okay, for example, you, Sean or Chase, from support, from the support team, check if exists any log, for example, from an AP call, okay? Or, for example, you, Mukesh, or Yudai, that we have the code and we know better if in one process we are saving the logs, okay, we can check in this tool, okay, if we have a log of the process, okay. So this is Google Cloud, okay. Here we have all the logs, okay, and we have different selects, okay, to filter the logs, okay. First, here in this select, we have the different servers, okay. For example, EUProd is the server in EU. Pre is the server that QA are using, okay. USProd is the server from US, okay. And staging is another server that QA are using, okay. For example, if the client, if the customer is from EU, okay, you should use this this item, okay, EUProd. Then you have here, okay, the select that you can choose, okay, the lapse of time, okay, that you are doing the query, okay. For example, last minute, okay, last hour, and the last is last 30 days, okay? If you select more lapse of time, okay, a big lapse of time, the tool, the query is more slow, obviously. And then in the logs, okay, for example, here, this is the table that show all the logs, okay? If you open one, for example, you have different, you have a JSON, okay? And you have different keys, okay? You can you can search directly, okay? In one key, okay? For example, I don't know, the path, for example, okay? If you check here the path, we have the same, okay? When you search or when you query in one key exactly, the query will be more fast, okay? And in the same way, when you query in a period, in a more little period, okay, the query is more fast, okay? If you check the one query in the last 30 days, okay, the query will be more slow, okay? And then you have here one input to write the query, okay? And then I pass you here, you have the button here in Learn, okay? Here, Google pass you a tutorials or how to check, for example, logs, okay? Or how to query the logs, okay? And then I recommend you check these tutorials, okay? Because are very useful, okay? And here you have the input text to do the query, okay? I have a few examples, okay, to check, okay? For example, this is very useful for you, Sean and Chase. For example, um, we can check, okay, the logs of the requests that are the platform are receiving, okay? If you check here, we are using this text, okay, to search, okay? This logger is to save all the APA calls, okay? For example, I don't know, if one customer send a creation of contact, okay, we are receiving here the creation, the request of the creation of the contacts, okay? Or for example, here we have a AP call for for Zenres, okay, by Zenres, okay? For example, to create reservations, okay? Here, if you check, you have all the APA calls that we are receiving. For example, here, in this case, we have a creation of purchase in this contact, in this account, okay? We have all the path, okay? And here you can have you have the method of the request. Remember, you have different types of requests. For example, POST is when a customer send a request with data. GET is when the customer try to get data, okay? And PUT is when the customer try to update data, okay? For example, in this case, you have a post for purchases, okay? And this customer try to create, okay, this purchase, okay? If you check, here we have the transaction code, okay? And then, for example, here, in this case, the customer tried to update this contact, okay? If you check, here we have the params to update this contact, okay? This contact ID in this account ID, okay? So, for example, if you need check if one customer send one request to create purchase, okay, you can check, for example, if you check this log have this path, okay? And here, when you do a left click, okay, you have this button, show matching entries, and this, when you click here, automatically Google put here the query to have this type of request, okay, with this path, okay? For example, we have for this request, okay, for this request, we have two requests, okay, for this path, sorry, in this date and in this hour, okay? And here you can open the log and check, okay, the params, okay? For example, this is one example to check, okay, if one customer sent to us one request to create purchase, okay? If we receive the request, you can check the params because maybe the params are wrong, okay? For example, I don't know, if you check in the checkout, for example, maybe the customer sent to us a wrong format of date, okay? Or maybe a wrong format or currency, okay? This is the idea. But maybe, if you check, you don't have, when you enter to the Google Logs, okay, you don't have these keys, okay? You don't remember the keys. The idea is remember, but maybe you don't remember these keys. Okay, here, if you check, you can remove this, okay, and you can put the string with the path, okay, because if you check, you have here in the API reference, okay, all the, for example, in this case, the customer did a creation of contact, okay, and if you check, you have here all the URL, okay? No, sorry, this is a creation of purchase. So when you go to purchase create here, you have the URL here, okay? And you can check, okay, directly the string of the query, of the path, for example, if you don't remember the key of the paths, okay? And if you put run query, if you check the query is more slow, okay? And if you check, you have the logs with the request, okay? This is one example. For example, remember you have we are receiving requests from, for example, Senres, from Royback, from different PMS, okay? For example, this is one example, okay? Then in the chat, I will post all the URLs to have these queries, okay? And when you try to for example, to post in one ticket, okay, I didn't find any log from the customer. Okay, perfect. You can copy all the URL and you can pass this URL to me or any other person, okay? Okay, this is one example to check the API request, okay, from the customer. Then I would like to show, for example, this. If you check, these are the requests, okay, from Zenres to create reservations, okay, in one account, okay. If you check, for example, we have this path, okay, with a post request, okay, and this path have one parameter, this 259, okay, and this is the account ID in Zenres, okay, account ID in Zenres for one account, okay, is the ID of one account. For example, if you check, we have the ID 259, okay, and if I search this Zenres account ID is for Capella Resorts, okay, then if you need all the IDs of the customers, okay, we can make a list with the name of the account and the ID of the customer in Zenres, okay. And if you check, when Zenres send to us a creation of reservation, okay, send this path of URL, okay, and in a post, okay. And if you check, you have here all the params of the creation, okay. Here, when you enter to one log, okay, if you open, you have different keys, okay. And if you check, for example, you have the timestamp, you have the level, you have the path, okay, you have the status of the request. The status is the code that we are answer, okay, we are answer to when the customer send to us a request, okay. And here we have the params, okay. And if you check, we have all the params that the customer sent to us, okay. I remember you, Sean and Chase, check in Mongo, the logs in one second, I go to Zenres. I remember that you check in Mongo, okay, the logs, because we have the logs here in Google Cloud, and we are saving this request, okay, all the params in one variable in the account, okay, that's called Zenres request data, okay. We are saving the same, but if as you know, here in Google Logs, we are saving the logs 30 days ago from today, and here in the platform, we are saving all the logs, okay? The historical, okay? Here you have all the requests that Zenres sent to us, okay? Sent to us with the params, okay? And you check, for example, okay, I don't know, one customer create a ticket that say, hey, I don't see the change of the status of one purchase. Okay, here you can check, okay, the unique ID, for example, is the transaction code. No, then we are make a different transaction code because append different slash, okay. But if you check here, when I search by this unique ID, okay, we have one result, okay? And you can check if Senres sent to us the change of status, because the status, maybe, I don't remember which, here, res status code. This param reflects to us, or the mean of this param is the status of the purchase, okay? And you can check if, for example, send to us the reservation status or cancel status or anything, okay? This is another example, okay, about Senres, okay? Then maybe when for example we make a tool in the platform that you can check the quick email validations, because when we do a validation in the platform of emails, when you go to a segment here, here we have a button that you can send a validation, okay, to the platform, and after do the validation, you have the list of emails, okay, valids or not, okay. This part of the platform uses another tool, for example, okay, uses another tool. The tool calls Quick Email Validator, okay. It's an external tool, okay. And for example, you check the logs, okay, of this process, for example, okay. When we send a quick email validation, we start process, okay. If you check here the message, start process quick email validation, okay. And here, for example, you have the account, okay. Here you can query, okay, if in one account, okay, start process of a one validation, okay. If you check here, I search in this account, I don't remember which account is. For example, Swinton Estate, okay. Swinton Estate send, okay, for example, different validations here, okay. For example, for one email, for a list of emails, okay. In this case, all these logs sure are individual emails, okay. Send one email, okay. And if you check here, you have the account, okay. And you check if the process of quick email validation, okay, are in process or not, okay. Remember, this I know because I check the code and I know in which part, okay, in which part we have logs or not. In this case, when we are starting a process to send a one validation, okay, I know that the worker that send the validation to Quick Email Validator, okay, save one log. For example, start process quick email validation with this message, okay. So, for example, Mukesh, Uday, or me, that we have access to the code, we can check, okay, here in the code, okay, here. This is the worker that sent the validation to Quick Email Validator. Okay, perfect. We know because we have access to the code. But maybe, for example, you, Sean, you don't know if one worker or one process, for example, the workflow of a campaign, for example, send or create a log. Okay. Okay. You can query to us. Okay. You have one ticket, for example, and the ticket is relation validations. Okay. Hey, Seba, we have a log for this worker or for this process. Okay. And we can explain to you, okay, we can explain to you, or we can check in the code if we have log, okay, and we can pass you, okay, the query, for example, this, okay, for you in the future, check if we have a log or not for one process, okay? Because we have a lot of logs, kind of logs, okay? We have a lot of logs. So for example, I don't remember if in one part of the code we are saving one log, okay? For example, in this part of code, in the validations, we are saving the logs, okay? And you can query to us if we are saving or not and pass to you, okay, the message or the query. So you in the future, you can check the message in the Google Logs and check if we have a log for this process. Okay. This is another example or another kind of log or logs, sorry. And then, for example, we have, for example, when we are sending a campaign, okay, we have a workflow, okay, for send the campaign, a normal campaign, a scheduled campaign, okay, and we have different workers to explain the process of the campaign, okay. For example, the first step of the campaign when are sending is get the contacts. Okay, you can check with this query. Okay, you have here the name of the worker. Okay, and here you have the ID of the campaign. You can check if the campaign do this task or did this step. Okay, when the campaign was sent, okay? Because maybe when did this show, okay, get the contacts that the campaign will send, okay? For example, have an error, have a timeout because Elasticsearch are very busy, okay? And you can check the different steps. For example, in the campaigns, okay, the campaigns, when we have a workflow for send campaigns, okay. First, we are getting the contacts, okay, and for example, you have, okay, the message here when start the get contacts worker, okay, we are saving the log, for example, okay. Or if you check, we have for this campaign, if you check here the params, we have here, for example, because, for example, if we are sending a campaign for 1,000 contacts, we have different page of contacts, okay? We have batches, okay? And the batches have 1,000 contacts, okay? Because maybe you are sending a campaign to 10,000 contacts, okay? So you will have 10 pages, okay? And here you can check, okay? You can check if the page are running or not, okay? If you check here, we have other page, okay? Total page 60, okay? And if you check here, for example, this is the log that reflects that the worker get contacts, okay, finish, okay? And this worker save all the contacts that the campaign will send, okay? This is another example, for example. And I have another example, for example, sorry, here, okay. Another kind of log is for example, when you do a segment, okay, or when you do a segment, when you make a segment, okay, here you will add, okay, conditions, for example, okay, and here, I don't know, you can add, okay, one condition that's search by email, okay. We don't have a contact, obviously, because it's a production account, HH Hotels, okay. And if you check, if you go to the logs, okay, here we have the request that we are sending to Elasticsearch server, okay, and here you can have, here you have all the query, okay, all the query that we have, for example, in the params, in the key query, okay, in the key query, you have, for example, here, filter, bool, must, okay, all the query that the platform made and sent to Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch process this query, okay, and then the Elasticsearch server answer to us the contacts that have these filters, okay? If you check, the account ID is the account ID of HH Hotels, pending destroying false, because we need the live contacts, okay? Here we send that the sorry, the push tech notifications are not blacklisted, okay? And if you check here in the query, should 0, we have the condition that we added, okay? If you close this, because we have default conditions, okay? Because in Elasticsearch, for example, we have a lot of contacts and we have all the contacts to destroy or not, okay? And here, for example, we send, okay, that the contacts have pending destroying false, okay, because we need the existing contacts, okay, And if you check, let's go here in the filter, in the query, okay, we put in this key, okay, the condition that you put, okay. So in this case, when you, for example, you have a ticket related, okay, the segment are working wrong, okay, you can check the query, okay, in the logs, and you can put in the in one comment to us, okay, the log of the query, okay, and maybe this information is useful to us to check if the query is is made in the correct way or in the wrong way, okay, because maybe, I don't know, you put here a character, okay, and in the query have another character, okay, for example, okay. And then one more thing here, when you can pass the URL of the query of the logs, okay, or maybe, for example, you need or you should pass to the customer, okay, you should pass to the customer the logs, okay, the logs of the request that the customer sent to us, okay, for example, in here, for example, here in this example that we say, okay, we will filter by unique ID, okay. Okay, we capture results. Here, if you need pass the query or the logs to us, for example, an internal person of the company, okay, you can pass the URL, okay, and the person access to this tool and check the logs in the tool, okay. But maybe you need pass this request to the customer, okay. In this case, you can here in the actions, you can download, okay, you can download the logs in JSON or CSV, okay, and here you can filter the log entries, okay. And if you download, okay, here you have the JSON of the request, okay, the JSON of the logs, okay. And here, if you need pass this to an internal partner from the company, okay, you can pass this. But if you need pass this to one customer, okay, you should pay attention on the keys, because you should remove different keys that the customer don't need, or is an internal information. For example, insert ID, remove. Level or name, remove, okay. API data, host, you can remove this, okay. The params is useful to the customer, okay. Don't remove anything from this, okay. But here you can have, for example, this logger, you can remove this. You have the method and path, okay. Don't remove this. The duration or message or time, okay. You can remove this. PID, hostname, platform version, okay, resource, you can remove this, okay? Severity, okay? Labels, log name, and this, okay? And here, you remove all the information that is not useful to the customer, okay? And is internal info, okay? And you can pass all this JSON with the params, okay? Or the timestamp, okay? Remove all the data that is in useful to the customer, okay? If the JSON is for us, okay, pass directly the JSON completely, okay? But if the JSON is to the customer, is for the customer, please remove these keys, okay? Or maybe when you download in CSV, okay, do the same, okay? So, okay, this is basically how to use the tool. Remember, we are saving a lot of logs, okay? And when you have a ticket or for support, for technical support, okay, and maybe we have logs, okay, and you can check the logs in from the platform, okay, we can pass to you, okay, we can pass to you the query to check the log, okay, the query to check the log, okay. Nothing when if you have doubts or you can check the queries or the in Google Cloud, okay, to check the logs, please put in the ticket, hey Seba, we have one way to check these logs, okay, and we will pass you the query, or maybe no, we don't have logs to this process, and it's useful to us, okay, it's useful to us. Check this because maybe in one process we are not saving logs, okay, and it's useful save logs, okay. For example, for anybody, okay, for anybody. Okay, guys, this is my explain about this tool. I don't know if you have doubts. Sure, sure you have doubts, but then in the tickets you can pass to us the query.
I just wanted to mention one thing, if that's all right, which is that I shared in the chat that I made a spreadsheet that has the CRM accounts with the account ID and the SendRes ID if it exists. So it's a quick way that you could look up those values if they're needed without having to use
Right.
Mongo or anything. So
Okay.
just a quick lookup tool.
Right. One more thing. Thank you, Sean, for the list. If you need or if you want use this tool, okay, you need that the IT team, okay, create a Google account, okay, to you, relation your mail in Sendine, okay, because we uses Google for save the logs, and we are using Microsoft to personal email of the company, okay. And but in Google we can link, okay, your personal email, your personal account of the company, okay, to one Google account, okay. You need this, and if you need this, pass this this thing to IT team, and they will create, okay, your account in Google, okay. And I pass you I will pass you here all the examples that I showed. Okay. Pass you in the chat. Okay. And here, if you check, you have all the URLs that I used to show the queries in the logs. Okay. Okay, guys. Any doubts?
Perfect. I'll do one thing after this call, about an hour or 2 hours later, I'll share a documentation of this call. I have some notes already. So I'll share the documentation, some notes from this call so that everybody can also look at it if you don't want to go through the entire call later just to review. You can also view the notes. Okay.
Thank you, Aditya.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
I think that was a great call, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much.
This is a complex tool, remember, but when you start do queries and different queries and enter to one process, for example, AP calls or campaigns, you can check these logs, okay, and you will better, okay, and you can training, okay, this process. Okay, guys, thank you very much for all. I don't know if you, Sean, want to say that.
No,
No, very
Okay.
good. Good information. We really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
great stuff.
Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a nice day.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.